Alright guys, our next guest is a former three-time UFC heavyweight champion, a contender for Fight of the Year after his crazy fight against Travis Browne at UFC 187, and most recently, he defeated Frank Mir at UFC 191. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome back Andrei Arlovski to Submission Radio. Andrei, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, Andrei, and thank you for coming on the show, and congratulations on your big win over Frank last weekend. We have to ask you, how is the hand doing? We know you hurt your hand. What's the latest news on the hand?
Everything okay. I saw the doctor today a couple hours ago, and it just bruised, and that's it. Nothing seriously. I'm not seriously injured. Some like broken bones or something. It just bruised.
Oh, awesome. Because I know beforehand the reports were saying that if it was broken, you may not be fighting till March. Obviously, it's just a bruise. I got to ask, how long do you think before we see you back in the octagon?
I'm not going to start earlier than October because obviously I want to rest, and after that, it's up to UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm ready to fight. I don't know, December, January. So it's still up to UFC.
And, just on that topic, Andrei, obviously there's a massive card here in Melbourne, UFC 193 at the end of November. There's a lot of rumors about Fedor Emelianenko possibly being on that card. If the UFC offered you that fight, would you take it on such short notice?
Sold.
Sorry?
Of course, anytime, any day.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Sold. Anytime, anywhere.
Well, we're like the Ari Gold of radio shows. We basically make fights on the show. Well, look, we want to talk about your most recent fight against Frank Mir. I just want to get your thoughts in general. You beat a resurging Frank Mir. However, afterwards you were visibly disappointed. Looking back now, how do you summarize the fight?
First of all, I was really disappointed because instead of walk in my room and be focused on my coming up match, I was kind of busy to see my friends, which is really bad. I wouldn't do this before my next fight for sure. And for some reason, I thought I'm going to beat him in the first round, but fight went like 3 rounds, and I kind of woke up in the third round. So victory for sure, but I didn't like my performance.
I'm just curious. You mentioned something about your friends. It wasn't very clear. What do you mean, Andrei, about seeing your friends? How did that affect the fight?
I mean, when I came Tuesday in Las Vegas, I was good. Wednesday, I flew. I was on fire when I hit mitts. Thursday was kind of tight. A lot of people came to see me from Russia, Belarus, and from Chicago, Florida. That's why I tried to be nice, and I had dinner with one company, late dinner with the other company. So I just lost a lot of energy, and I almost lost the fight. So I didn't like my performance, but I took a lesson, of course, and it's not going to happen again.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. I mean, it was a fight that it seemed like the disappointment was in the air. There's a lot of negative posts on social media and websites and journalists and the fighters. How hard was that negative backlash after UFC 191, to deal with, and how do you deal with such negativity?
You know what? I just don't want to be rude, but fuck all the people. It's just easy to stay on the couch and say something. Just put your gloves and step an octagon, with someone. Listen, I did what I did. I did that night. I did I don't know. I think I did, and actually I happy about some parts of the fight. For example, when he took me down, he looked for Kimura. I skip, I get out, and by the cage, I pretty much all the time control him. So it's some good parts of the fight about what I'm happy about. But of course, it wasn't KO, and that's why people think, it's like bad performance. It's not the worst performance. I saw that fight a few times already, and I won every round compared to judges. So
yes,
I don't even listen or read some stuff on the internet.
Yeah, let me ask you, Andrei, after the fight you mentioned that you didn't expect Frank Mir would go hard for 3 rounds. I'm just wondering, did that surprise you at all? And why did you not think that he would go like that?
because usually what I saw, and especially I study when I study with my coach's Frank, he was like aggressive all the time. First 3 minutes, first round, and I think Overeem when he fought with Frank Mir, he did like very good job. It was smart fight, so I thought it was going to be kind of same situation with me, same scenario, but I was wrong, and we fought 3 rounds, and yeah, I beat him by decision. Of course, I want to knock him out, but I got the decision.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you mentioned that you didn't expect him to go hard for 3 rounds, we kind of thought, because you guys used to train at Jackson Winklejohn's together, I'm wondering, how much did you guys spar together? How much experience did you guys have together? Did you base your fight expectations on those sparring sessions that you guys had as well?
We didn't train much because, yeah, you're absolutely right. He was in Albuquerque a few times. I mean, like, I guess he prepared for 2 his fights in Albuquerque with Greg Jackson in Wilkinson. But pretty much all the time he left every week on a Thursday and coming back on Monday because he flew to Vegas to be with his family. So that's why we just, I guess we had a few sparring sessions and a few rounds and a few wrestling sessions, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you found a lot of success in the fight, Andrei, when you focused on your left hand as opposed to your right. Do you think if you had adjusted earlier in the fight, you might have had a bit more success and possibly finished Frank?
I'll tell you one thing, Casper. If I did everything supposed to do, if I would do everything what how it's supposed to be like before the fight, how it was before my fight against Travis Browse, I guarantee you, I would probably knock him out in the first round, and I didn't give him even like one chance to touch me or like take me down or something, But like I said, I did something wrong before the fight, so I almost paid for this. That's why, of course, I'm very disappointed. But like I said, victory is a victory, and also that's why I some apologize. I wrote some message on my Instagram for people. I have a lot of good comments about people. They said we don't have to apologize. Fight is fight. Fight was not excellent fight, but it was a good fight. Some people wrote me and listen. A lot of course, like you said, a lot of people try to write something bad on internet or something. But at the same time, I have a lot of good comments, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, sure.
At least I'm honest, I said, at least I'm honest. I said how I felt, and I wrote how I felt, and I know what I did wrong. So this is the most important thing for me.
Oh, no, that's absolutely fine, Andrei. We'll move on in a moment and talk about what's next. Before that, I've still got just a couple more questions in regards to one of the things that Dennis and I noticed. You weighed in 4 pounds lighter than your last fight against Travis Browne. It's not a huge weight difference. You looked slightly smaller, though. I'm just wondering whether, what was there any particular reason why you came in lighter?
Because I have a good nutritionist, and I try to be on a diet, and I try to eat right, But I think for this fight, I thought I'm going to be probably around 242, 240, max 245 pounds, but I was 237, this is not good. So, of course, I was a little bit light. But for every heavyweight right now, try to be like not anymore, except Frank Mir, of course, to be like 265 to 66 pounds. I think like the right weight for heavyweight is about 240 to 45 pounds. So that's why I changed kind of my diet, and I'm watching what I'm eating.
It was noticeable, Andrei. Now, before this fight, many people wanted to see you fight for the title and rematch Fabricio Werdum, and it was apparently down to you or Stipe Miocic. We never got to ask you what your reaction was when you originally got the Frank Mir fight, but were you disappointed that you didn't get the title shot, and do you think that after this Frank Mir fight, it might have hurt your chances at all of getting the next shot at Werdum, or do you think it's likely that you may get the next shot at Werdum after Velasquez?
I wasn't that much disappointed because, I don't want to sit on a bench and do. First, Werdum said he want to fight and defend his title on end of December, then January. Now it's going to be in March. I don't want to see too much, and the reason why I agreed that fight, first of all, it's supposed to be, I thought it's supposed to be an interesting fight for UFC, for fans, and also top 10, top 15 fighters in heavyweight division in UFC right now, they're very tough, they're very dangerous, and it doesn't really matter to sit and pick the fighters, especially I never pick my opponents. So UFC asked me, do I want to fight Frank? I said, yeah, why not? Of course, when? September. I said, sold. I just want to be stay busy and I want to fight as often as possible.
You're an easygoing guy. So, okay, well, obviously, if the fight's happening in March, you're going to fight. You're going to fight before. Like, even if Velasquez and Werdum, they have a definitive outcome, you'll take a fight before then, correct?
One more time.
Like, because they're fighting in March, which is like 6 months away, and then they'll need a rest and things like that. You'll take a fight before then, correct?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Well, the interesting thing about your next fight is last time we had you.
I'm sorry. I would love to fight before the end of the year if I'm going to have opportunity.
Before the end of the year. Well, I mean, yeah, it ties in perfectly with the next question. Last time we had you on the show, you mentioned that you still get nightmares about the Fedor fight. Given that Fedor's coming back to MMA, possibly the UFC, is it safe to say that you're pretty excited about, possibly getting a rematch?
Yep. Yeah, I'm very excited, and I promise you it's going to be a really good fight. And I will do everything possible to pay him back by kill. I'm going to knock his ass out.
It's interesting because a lot of people are saying Fedor coming into the UFC now isn't the Fedor that fought back then. I just want to get your opinion, Andrei. Do you think the time off from MMA will hurt Fedor, or do you think he can get into the UFC and get back to his winning ways like he once did?
To be honest with you, I think it's a rumor that it's BS that he's going to come back to UFC first of all. Secondly, of course, I would love for him back in UFC and fight him again to have a rematch. But if you ask him about if he's kind of old or not, I don't think so, because I think for heavyweights prime time, it's like 36 till like 40. I think it's the best. It's my opinion. I think it's the best prime time for the fighter, especially. And also we have a great example. Randy Couture, he fought, I guess, till age 47. In boxing, we have Joe Foreman.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's, I think it's a good time for heavyweights, good age.
Well, interesting thing is a lot of Fedor fans have said that if he is signed to the UFC, they'd like to see him get a title shot straight away because of his legacy and past success. What do you think? Would you deserve an immediate shot?
Let's be serious. Of course not. He's not going to have a title shot. Who's going to give him title shot right away?
You think he has to prove himself in the UFC first, correct?
Not prove, but at least it's my opinion. I don't know, maybe UFC is going to do something different if they're going to fight him. But I think at least he has to have a couple fights and for title shots.
Well, let me ask you, Andrei, if you did get this Fedor rematch, you've mentioned that the first fight obviously didn't go the way you planned it. How do you see this fight going down if you did get a rematch with Fedor? How would you see the fight playing out?
No more flying knees, and I'm going to do, like I said, everything possible to knock him out.
Well, fingers crossed. Hopefully...
It was such a stupid move from my side when I jumped with a flying idiot.
I know. I remember last time you were on the show, we spoke about it, how much you regret it. I just want to switch gears for a second, Andrei. Your teammate, Alistair Overeem, your fellow Jackson Winklejohn teammate, he'll be fighting Junior Dos Santos at UFC on Fox 17. You guys train together. Will you be helping him prepare for Junior in the upcoming fight?
Junior Dos Santos?
Alistair Overeem, you guys train together. Will you be helping Alistair prepare for Junior?
Absolutely not. I never trained with Junior Dos Santos.
No, I mean like training with Alistair Overeem, though.
Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the question. I think it's going to be an interesting fight, especially for me. You're absolutely right. I train with Alistair Overeem, and his stuff, his kicks, his legs, elbows, knees, all from. I think it's going to be a good fight. But my concern if it's Overeem going to be in a good shape and he's going to be ready for if they have a main event. The main event?
No, there's a title fight, Cerrone and Rafael Dos Anjos, so it'll be 3 rounds.
Because three fighting rounds, he has to be in a good shape. 15 minutes. Because I was surprised when Junior Dos Santos fought Miocic. He kind of was like tired first 2-3 rounds, 2.5 rounds, but after 4th and 5th rounds, he came back and he looks like he just it was warm up and he just ready to go.
Let me ask you something, Andrei, because a lot of people feel like Junior Dos Santos isn't the same fighter after the beating that he took from Cain Velasquez. He's obviously taken a lot of headshots, and in his last fight against Stipe, a lot of people weren't that impressed. Do you think he can still be the same fighter he once was, or do you think it's a case that he has taken quite a bit of damage in the division?
I don't know what to tell you, Honestly, I don't know. It's a lot of people said I should retire after 4 fights in a row, and I got killed by Emelianenko and Kharitonov, and what's his name?
Karatanov?
Who? No, Kharitonov, yeah, and black guy.
Brett Rogers?
Brett Rogers, yeah.
Yep.
And everybody says, listen, Arlovski down, this and that, too much punches on the head, but I did a medical exam, everything fine, pretty true. And deep inside I knew I'm not done, so it depends how he feels, what his opinion, what his goals, and that's it, how bad he wants to be a champion again. That's why I think it's going to be the big motivation for everyone, for each fighter, so... I'm talking at least about myself, but...
Yeah.
I don't know what to be honest with you.
No, I mean, there's a lot of parallels, obviously, and we can understand you talking about your career and your career resurgence. You're at the point where, your career was in a different path, and now people are talking about you fighting for the title. I'm just curious, though, if Alistair Overeem wins against Junior Dos Santos, obviously you've won against Frank Mir, you guys are going to be in similar positions in regards to a title shot. You'd both have rightful claims. We know how much you didn't want to face Travis Brown, your friend and former training partner. If you had to fight Alistair to get the title shot, would you guys be able to put the friendship aside, or would it be too much to ask?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I'm not close friends with Alistair. I just was friends with Travis and listen, business is business, and I kind of have a bad feeling they put me against Overeem. So I'm going to fight him, of course. He's my teammate, but listen, everybody has to make money, everybody has to make a decision. I'm talking about my coaches and how it's going to be. So that's it.
Yeah, certainly. And obviously, Andrei, you've accomplished so much in your career and you fought the biggest names in the sport. You're a 2-time former world champion. What would it mean to you to become the UFC champion one more time?
It's huge. And by the way, I was 3 times world champion, just in case.
Oh, sorry.
It's my dream. Like I said, I choose what's more important for me right now. And for me, it's very important to rebuild my career again. Of course, I want to be a champion again, and I will do everything possible to reach my goal. And right people right now around me, right coaches, good teammates, good place for camps. My wife and my son, they 100% supported me. She understands that it's very important for me what I'm doing right now, and I'm just ready to go. And I still have fire in my eyes, and that's it. I have everything, to train hard, and just follow my dreams and catch my dreams and be a champion again.
Absolutely. Well, we've been absolutely enjoying watching the journey. Andrei, I've got one more question before we let you go, and that is, what would you say is more important to you, becoming the champion again for a 4th time, or rematching and avenging your loss to Fedor Emelianenko?
Oh, don't understand me wrong, because I'm going to tell you I want to fight Emelianenko and period, and that's it. No, of course I want to be a champion, but if I will have opportunity to fight Emelianenko, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great, and it's, but of course, it doesn't really matter what I want. It's up to UFC, obviously, but if I'm gonna have, like you said, opportunity and take a fight in a short notice against Emelianenko, of course I will take that fight. But if I'm gonna have opportunity to fight for the title, like in a month or two, for example, from today, they're gonna tell me, oh, you have to be in camp, be ready, and you're gonna have a title fight. Okay, don't understand me wrong. Of course, I'm gonna take title fight, of course. But like I said, of course, I never pick my opponents, and I wanna fight for the title because I wanna be a champion again. But of course, I wanna fight also Emelianenko. I need to rematch. I want a rematch. But it's totally up to UFC. If they decided, for example, my next fight put me against Emelianenko, great. If they're gonna put me next fight against champion, awesome too. So it's totally up to UFC. But if they're gonna ask me what kind of wishes you have, what kind of thoughts you have, who you wanna fight next, I'm gonna explain everything, and we're gonna decide what's next for me. That's it.
Well, there you guys go. We don't know what's next for Andrei Arlovski, but it's something big. It could be UFC 193 against Fedor Emelianenko, or it could be another title fight, hopefully, within 2015. You can follow Andrei on Twitter at Andrei Arlovski and check out his website, www.arlovski.com. It's great to hear that your hand isn't as hurt as we thought it was, and all the best, Andrei. Thank you for coming into the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.